Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, or good evening, or whenever you're watching this. Welcome to Speaker Insight. My name is Helena.
And I'm Kelly.
And we help speakers, authors, and coaches to build a portfolio business on your terms. And if you don't know what that means, then you need to come into the Connection Hub where we do all the fun stuff. So if you're watching this on the Speaker Insight page, do come on over and join us inside the Connection Hub, which is our fantastic group of speakers, authors, and coaches, and all the people that help them. People like Sophie Jewry, who we are about to talk to about possibly one of the most favorite things that we actually kind of fill our lives with. So that's
It's like Christmas has
exciting.
come early, hasn't it, today?
It really has. It really has. There was a little bit of planning, not a huge amount, but a little bit of planning around the timing of this one because it's just really nice to do. But we're going to be talking about branded journals and planners and how speakers, authors, and coaches can kind of really work with that. Mainly, this one I suspect is going to be for the speakers, but you never know how you get inspired. So before we actually kind of crack on with that, because I can see three of you are here, and we'll wait for
I'm
the
still
normal
sharing
lunch
it after, yeah.
crowd as such. Hi, Brian. Nice to see you. And there you go. You see some nice regulars that are coming in. So you know the drill if you know us well. So the buzz in your business, please tell us the buzz in your business. What's happening that's exciting, inviting, enticing for you? Are you winding down? Are you still winding up? Who knows? With this thing that is Christmas that is coming along. So I'll tell you a little bit about the buzz in ours. Then we'll ask Sophie, and you pop yours in the comments so we can see what they are. Kelly did a podcast which is coming out sometime before Christmas, I think, with Anna Parker Knowles, right?
And yeah, we'll get the link as soon as that goes live. But that was all about how to build a successful speaking business. So if you're a speaker watching this, then look out for that link. It will be going out in the Connection Hub sometime over Christmas.
Lovely. And I did a little training session inside David Poole, who is one of our Connection Hub members and a real favorite with many people. He asks some rather interesting questions. I did a session on the four intentions for his group, which was all quite good fun. So not for public consumption, but yes, he decided to do me the which you can see in inside the Connection Hub. He decided to do me the Dave
Oh, yeah.
Advisor sort of markings, which was quite
Rating.
good fun. Ratings, that's it. A bit like TripAdvisor, but so much more enticing. And this is the penultimate training session slash
Oh,
interviewing thing that we do of 2020. So for those of you, yay, I know, how good do you feel, Sophie? So for those of you who are expecting us to do something on Tuesday the 22nd, don't, because it's happening. Something much more special. The last one of the year is always the dun dun dun,
the
the
awards.
connection, the awards, the Speaker Insight Awards, the Christmas Awards. So that's really quite exciting. Hi to Jacqueline and Brian's buzz, and then we'll go to Sophie for her buzz. Brian's buzz is
Well, hang on a
biz.
minute. Let's
What?
just clarify because
Oh
we've been
yes,
growing over the lot. We're like nearly
good
9,000
point.
members now,
Good
so
point.
many of you won't know what the Speaker Insight Awards are. And
Yeah.
every Christmas, we review back all of the members in the Connection Hub, and we actually allocate prizes and awards for certain categories. So I know some people that are watching this would have won before. Doesn't mean you can't win again. But what you have to do is you have to be live 1 o'clock on Monday the 21st, either on Speaker Insight and in the Hub, to see if you've won an award this year, especially if you're one of our most engaged members and you're an active member of the group. We might have some goodies for you.
We might just do, which is always kind of fun for us. So Sophie, why don't you tell us the buzz in your business, and then I'll read out a couple of the ones that have just come through.
I think the most exciting thing at the moment is the fact that we've got a couple of planners that are on the press at the moment, which is always the exciting time. It's an exciting but daunting moment. It's that time where you go, oh, phew, it's gone. Hooray! And then you go, oh my God, I hope that it's okay when it comes back.
Completely.
Yeah, I'm going to talk you through them a little bit later, but these are the sample copies for them both, but they're both
Wow.
really exciting. So yeah, it's really exciting because they're both going to be leather and they're going to be amazing. So that's always really exciting. Yeah, that's one of the big buzzes that's happening at the moment.
And you're just as excited as your clients do about them, right?
Yeah. Who doesn't love getting planners in the post?
This is the whole thing. This is exactly how it works. So, Brian's just saying, Biz Social Networking Online have just had our best 2 months in business in 6 years, going international from 1st of February with 150 online networking events every year, which is exciting time. So, well done, you, Brian.
And Brian, shove a link to Biz Social in the comments in case people want to check you out and join in and make that even bigger next year.
Yep, for sure. Especially in light of the fact that last week we actually talked about how to make the best of networking. So that obviously is a really good thing. So let's crack on now that we've got some of you here, because I'm sure you may never have thought about actually doing bespoke or branded journals and planners. So we thought we'd put that option in there so that you can think about your planning. You know, we really are kind of heading into that stage where, are you thinking about 2021? If you're not thinking about 2021 seriously, you should be thinking about 2021. But really, we wanted to sort of put a new thing in there that you might even open up as one of your product lines in some way. So we thought we'd open up your thinking around that. So, Sophie Jewry.
Just
hang on.
Excuse to buy stationery.
Well, that sort of goes without saying, but okay then. Yes, it's good. Thanks, Brian, for putting that in there. It totally is that. So, Sophie Jewry, welcome. Now, you call yourself the Chief Stationery Addict. Tell us how you got that title and what you actually do. Why have we got you here?
Well, more Chief Stationery Addict Facilitator. Because I like to facilitate stationery addicts and their addictions, because who doesn't love a bit of stationery? And yeah, why? I think it's something I've always liked, but I've been in design and print for a long time. So 2002, 2003, I started doing design and print, as in saying brochures, flyers, that sort of stuff. So I've always liked printed matter. And I've always seen the value in that. And then I've always been arty-farty in my own personal space. So combine the two and you've got a wonderful combination of things. But also I like planning and I like getting organized, and I love the planning process. I like journaling. I see that there's so much value in writing things down physically on a piece of paper. Don't get me wrong, I love digital stuff. But yeah, there's something about paper and pens and or paintbrushes or however whatever tickles your pickle, that it is so nice. So yeah, that's why I kind of got interested in it. It was a combination of, these are the skills that I already have. This is something I want to create, and let's just make it happen. And then it's sort of grown from there, really. And who knew other people are as crazy as me when it comes to stationery and planning.
You found out fairly quick, I'm sure.
Yeah. When I used to run the educational psychology department, and I was, the most important part I thought of my role in that job was actually the fact that I had the big stationery book that I could actually order for the whole company. I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing in the world.
In charge of the budget.
I had a stationery budget. But I think it's really important what you say, Sophie, about planners and journals, because we all live in that age where we've got our Google calendars and our iCalendars, and they're really essential to manage our business. But there is something different about having something physical, and some people prefer that way. I remember having the old Filofax when I was first starting out. But I think also importantly for journaling, there is lots of research that has actually shown the benefit of the coordination of actually writing something down, and actually the energy in that, and memory, and all the neural pathways that are, stimulated by actually physically writing something down. So especially for journaling, I think it's really important to have something physical and something that looks good.
And it's not just about kind of, sort of harnessing the energy of what you're putting down in terms of the ideas. It's just the fact that you have somewhere beautiful to put all the stuff that's really not very nice inside your head, to take it outside of you and actually get more perspective on it. So it's a double whammy. It's a beautiful thing.
I'm just at Tally's comment that she says she's a stationery addict, but it's good to say it amongst friends. It's like an AA stationery meeting, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's when you they're serious when the first thing they do when they pick up a notebook is open the page, just stroke it slightly and smell the interior.
Have you been watching me?
I don't know what you're talking about. See, Brian's with me. You remember the old Filofax days? We're showing our age, Brian. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
you seen the covers that Filofax do now? I actually do versions of my Ultimate Diary Planner as Filofax, so it's the inside only with 6 punches, so people can put their own.
Why have I already done my Christmas wish list?
Because then you get all the brilliance of that Filofax is, with all the extra goodies and the pockets for stuff and pens. Yeah. You get your Christmas, which is often expensive to buy, which you want to utilize. So yeah, it's all good. I love stationery in all its forms. But they did studies in universities where they studied the difference between people who took written notes and people who took computer notes, and proven that the ones who took them by hand retained more of the information. And a lot of that was because when you type, you don't rephrase it. You almost type verbatim. So you're typing. And when you write, because you're writing slower, unless you're some whizzy shorthand super guru, you have to kind of rephrase in your own way of saying it.
Your interpretation.
You
summarize, you do all of that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so we understand for the stationery geeks that are coming out of the woodwork here, or stationery geeks coming out of the stationery cupboard, we know how we can use these things for ourselves, right? We know that we can use them for our own journals and our own planners. But what we're actually wanting to look at a little bit here today is actually how you can actually use a planner, a journal, some sort of, the diary in some way, as something for your client. So it becomes part of your product range. It becomes part of your offering, your value, your service. So can you tell us how you might have worked with coaches or people like that have done this, and how they can use this as part of their business offering?
So there's lots of ways you can go about doing this depending on budgets. If you're just starting out, you want to test the water a little bit, you can go very basic and just buy a nice notebook and give it to your clients, and they will, and then tell them how to use it, tell them what you want them to be doing in it. So the guidance is there. So actually that's quite a nice way to get going, because you can get feedback, you can learn what you want to be teaching them, you can learn what's working, what's not, and then you can use that knowledge to then create this kind of ultimate planner or journal that is niche to you.
And we did that, just so you know, Sophie, and I know people like Tally have been on our retreat, and people that work with us on a one-to-one level will get our Speaker Insight notebook. So it's embossed with our logo, it's in our colors, it's got pockets and stuff, but it's actually then for them to use normally, taking notes at the retreat and carrying on the actions from there. So that was something that we did really early on in our business.
Yeah. Sorry, I am just going to interrupt just slightly, just because it needs saying. Jack, you just make me laugh. I had a wedding stationery business previously, so I am literally dribbling right now. So I just thought Sophie, this is the impact that you are having.
Yeah, start bringing out planners, it's all good.
Oh dear, she's going to be rocking fetally in the corner somewhere.
Literally, I've just got shelves filled with planners. I've got to the point now where I'm like, I cannot possibly buy any more pens, because I've got a wholesale account with pens and I literally have hundreds of them. And I cannot buy any more notebooks, but I still quite like to. Give me a station someday. But no, so if you're going in basic, that's a perfectly great thing to do. There are some lovely notebooks and planners out there already. If you want to go something a little bit more niche, that's when planners and journals that are bespoke can really come into their own. And the more, there are loads out there, it's become really trendy. So in the last kind of 5 years, planners have exploded, and there's now all shapes and sizes of them. Lots of people are doing them, but it's a bit like a book in the sense that yes, there are lots of people doing them, but actually there are an awful lot of people that aren't doing them. It's easy to think everyone's doing it and then not do your own, and then actually if you do them, you are elevating yourself in terms of the positioning that you've got out there, the service that you're giving, and all those different things, because actually the route to market with a planner is not as straightforward or as low cost as you might first think. And I think a lot of people think, oh, it would be nice to have, but don't really think about what goes into putting one together. Yes, you could do it on the cheap. You could get someone to do a kind of a cheapy little design, and that would certainly tide you over for some stuff, but it's worth, if you want to do it properly, then do it properly and get something that's really nice and substantial and put it out there, because you can make money with planners for sure. and journals, because the joy of journals and planners is the fact that you can charge more for them. Even more so, you can add on lots of upsells to them, which increase the value that you're going to get in, which helps you cover the cost of getting the nice ones done.
What would that be, Sophie? An example of an upsell, what would that be?
So here's my planner for, which is normally, I don't know, 25, 30 pounds, whatever you're going to do it out as. But if you pay 50 pounds or 100 pounds, you get this digital bonus, which explains how you do this, or which talks you through this element, or helps you with this specific problem.
So like bundling it together and encompassing the cost of a physical product into a digital product that actually doesn't cost that much to create, and therefore the profit is much more.
100%. Yeah. And then there's always upsells from that. So, you know, you've bought this, but if you want more support, we can do one-to-one, blah, blah, blah. So whatever your funnel is, whatever your offering is, you can kind of add it into it. Other things that people do is they have planners and journals done as part of something that they're doing. So as part of the program, a course, a membership,
a retreat,
something like that. So you then get something like that. So this was one that I did, this behemoth.
Look at
it. Let me see the front. I can't see the front. Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. It's got a little pen thing. It's proper humongous. We did have this conversation. Are you sure you want it to be that big? She's like, yeah.
Like, yes, I do.
And it's fairly straightforward, but what it is a lovely lady, and she does a 1-year course. So you sign up as for women in their 40s plus, part of your power years. And as part of that, a big chunk of it is about journaling, and she wants you to journal in a really specific way. So the journal is laid out with a full page per day. So it's 365 days, which is why it's so massive.
Okay.
And she then takes you through, and as part of the 12-month support, you work in the journal kind of together. You do calls and stuff where they work the pages and discuss the stuff that's come up for them and things like that. So yeah, they can be a really nice addition. And if you're doing something like that and you're charging thousands for it, suddenly investing in a planner, the cost per person becomes very minimal.
And that really is a nice tangible physical, but it's also then becomes your whole work, all the memories, all the work you've done in one place that you can go and review, and you've basically got it there at hand. But it's also really nice to be reminded, because it looks beautiful and it's branded. It's always there. It's always out on the table. It creates conversations for people.
Yeah.
Go on. Sorry, Ham.
I tend to say, so right, books are great. I love books. Obviously, everybody should be doing books in here. We've got lots of authors in here. They're a really nice thing. The great thing about books is that you're taken into someone's personal space. So you are in their bath with them, you're in their bed with them, you're in their space. So they kind of they feel like they've got a personal connection with you more than if they went to see you at a event or heard you online, that you're kind of in that space with them on their terms. Then if you have that, so they'll read that, which is great, and they will probably highlight some stuff. Best intentions, they'll have it on their desk, like I have a couple down there with little bookmarks in and I've scribbled in. But I might only look in it. I kind of look in it when I need to look in it, rather than kind of as and when. The thing where a planner or a journal comes into their own is it's kind of an extension of that. So, and they work really well together, a book and a journal, because you give everybody the information in the book, and then you can help them
expand on it. And
in the journal, the planner, and they're pouring their heart and soul into your journal. So whether it be a personal thing or whether it's a business thing, they're putting their deepest, most important thoughts in, doing it on a daily basis. So you are literally a big part of their life. And that book, which has gone from being a piece of paper with a nice cover, has gone to suddenly being, this is my life in here. And you do hear people say, I don't know what I'd do if I lost my planner. It is my life.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
For sure.
We're loving Ali's going, I need this to go with my online course that she's created. So definitely with that, we're saying that addition. And I think it's also good to show that you've shown some examples there, Sophie, of like the journaling side of things and the extension of a book. I know that Lucy from Digital Women's Group, she's basically does a lot. her one is actually around social media planning. So if you're in that way and you actually want people to plan their content, then it's a great thing to do. It might be like
Estelle does the same
Estelle does
for
the same.
Instagram. So
you're right, yeah. You've got Brendan Burchard's high performance habits. So if you're a habit coach and you want people to get used to and doing those types of things, accountability. So there's so many different ways, I think, that people in the space that are coaches or speakers or authors that can have this as an extension of what they do. That's Brendan's, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's Brendan's.
Or the way to actually implement the stuff that they're saying. So like Ali's saying about the course, then how do they then use this to then take those notes, implement it, look at their understanding and what their actions are going to be. So I think it's good that you're making people think differently, because a lot of people just think of planners as diaries of 2021, and they can be a lot more than that.
Oh, and I'm really excited because I get some really interesting inquiries from people who are looking to get something done. And as I always say to people, yes, you can do generic ones, but really, what's the point? You might as well just buy one. If you're going to go to the effort of actually getting one done, then make it really good and make it really niche, because the more niche it is, yes, the market that it's available to is smaller, but it's so much more powerful for the people that are using it. I've got.
I think that's.
I can talk you through.
No, I was just going to say, so, sort of actually, because I think one of the things that's brilliant about you is that you've kind of, because you've been doing this for a range of time, and because you've got those creative ideas, you really help people, sort of understand what else is possible. Because I think most of us, it's like anything that we don't know a lot about, but have a tiny little interest in, suddenly if you then speak to an expert, they start opening up the world, which is partly why we're putting you in front of people. So I think you're about to do this anyway, but I'm actually, because I know your process is amazing. So I don't want people to miss out on the fact that, sort of you can help them do their thinking. So if I'm a coach, and I'm a bit like Ali and Jacqueline, who are both going, ooh, this is a good idea, I quite like this, so as a coach, what should I be considering? And I'm literally asking this question for me because, of course, you've just sparked something for my vision boards. And I'm like, oh, my word, that's another project for 2021. Sophie Jewry. But, so as a coach, considering if I want to create my own planner, what should I be thinking about? Like, help us out with that one.
So normally,
in fact, Ali's literally asking that. She's, how big a task is it to create a book, and how and where? My course is 12 modules with 24 downloads that could be put into the book. So there we go.
Well, it's the usual thing of how long is a piece of string, because everybody's so different and what you want to get from it. So I would consider what's the end goal that I'm trying to create here for my business, but also for the people who are going to be using it. Because you've got things like, I've got lots of different types of planners. So this is a little planner, more like a workbook really, that is for my membership group, and what we have in here, we have specific things that we do. So we've got pages there where you can, because we have a call every month and they're 12-week ones, so you have a page there where you can keep all the call information with notes and stuff that you write down. We do things called blast-its, where we do real precision productivity, 15-minute chunks. So that's one day on a page with 15-minute chunks. So we've got enough of those that covers the 12 weeks on the days that we do them. You've got some little week planners, and you've got some review pages, because every month we do kind of review and thing. Then you've got content planners and just stuff that I'm telling them I want them to do within those 12 weeks. It's enough structure that they can make it their own, but without being too prescriptive of what they have to do. So you've got that sort of a thing. Then you've got stuff like these, which this is literally, I ran yesterday. It was a full day planning workshop where you look at what you're planning for your year. So in here, you've got goal setting, you've got social media planning, you've got brainstorming, you've got all sorts of bits and things that help you really get clear on what your year is happening. So again, that's only a little thing. So
and is that one a black and white one, Sophie? That one you just had, was that completely black and white?
Yeah, a lot of these are black and white, and the reason for that is because it costs like twice the price to get them done in color. So color's lovely, I love color, but the majority of planners I do are black and white because
interesting
the element is there. So if you wanted to do something like that, that's much more straightforward. That's something I could do, but you could also get your designer to put something together for you. You know, it's not as in-depth, it's not as high risk in terms of cost investment, that sort of a thing. But these are really nice little additions to have. They're great to do as part of a workshop or as a course, because you can. So what I tend to do with these ones is I will just charge a few pounds more for them to get than they get the digital version, because obviously we did it online. So, you know, you pay this much for online, or you pay an extra few quid and you get the printed one in the post. So that's a nice little thing to do. It's not a huge expense. And if you're posting things out, it gives you the opportunity to post other things. So if you want to do a little bit of direct response marketing within that, it is a nice opportunity to do it. Whatever that looks like for you. So it could be sending them a nice little positive affirmation postcard, a pen, free notebook, a bit of merch.
Interestingly enough, we do that. So we've just literally sent out our business trackers to our Changemaker members, and in it we also have a nice little note card. You know, so again, this is an idea for all of you watching. We actually have a "What path are you next taking? How can you best work with us?" little thing that actively just reminds people that these are some of the other things that you could be doing with us.
Yeah, but this month they also got Christmas cards.
Of course they did,
right?
You know, and actually, Kelly, I had somebody say thank you for ours this morning, so all good.
Yeah, good. You know, bulky mail is a nice thing. Not many people get it these days, so it's even more exciting. So there's that sort of a thing. But then you get into the realm. So I do like colour. This is my planner that I do. See, it's
that's colourful.
This is all about the colour. It's got colourful covers. It's colourful all the way through. This is my ultimate diary planner that I did in 2015. So we're now in year 6.
So Sophie, let's just hold fire. What is that? Just tell people your one. What is that? What do they use it for?
So this is a full year planner, and it's a week to view. So it's a week per spread, and it's got color coding and bits and pieces. So I was talking about giving structure without being too prescriptive. In these little boxes and at the top here, I used to put instructions like most important tasks or what I'm having for dinner and stuff, and people didn't necessarily use it for that. So I've now more moved toward giving them a space, and then they can use it for them. So I'll give them ideas and then they can make it their own. This has got all sorts of reviewing things in there, and goal setting and tracking and bits and pieces. So
I think one of the things, when you and I have talked before, you know, one of the things I really love about that is that because it's been going since 2015, you know, the first time we do anything, your first is your worst, right? You know, that's how the saying goes. And then it goes on from there. So I love that you've been getting this feedback and actually going really prescriptive and going, that didn't quite go down as well, and kind of honing it over time. So I love this idea of moving with the times, and the fact that a bespoke planner, absolutely, if you're doing something on a yearly basis, as you certainly are, and as others might be, that they can actively make amendments and do that market research, exactly as you're saying, because even the journal in itself is some kind of market research around how are my people, my avatar, my ideal client, there it is, avatar had to come in there somewhere, you know, they actively give you the feedback that then allows you to put out the better product next time around, right? And Ali saying, do you offer this service for people?
Yeah, 100% I do. You learn through your mistakes, and that's as everybody knows, we're all business people in here. You know that when you're doing stuff for your clients, they can do it themselves, perfectly capable of sorting it out themselves and jumping through all the hoops, learning all the mistakes that you learned along the way, spending all the money that you spent making those mistakes, and all of that jazz. But if you want to sidestep all of that, then you go to the person that's done it before and you say, can you help me get it sorted? Like I literally was on a call this morning with a client. We're going through some first edits of their planner, which we want to try and get out before the end of the year. And, you know, we're doing print on demand for that one, which is a very different print process to doing something where you get, you know, proper printed set done. And so I'm saying this would be nice, but we can't do it because we're doing print on demand. This would be nice as well, but we're doing that because of this. we've got restrictions that we have. If you're doing something that is linen bound with multiple colors and nice pretty end papers and ribbons, you can do some really nice things with the artwork. If you're getting something that's printed hardback, which is just going to be black and white, it's going to be print on demand, and we're just going to do a short run, then you need to do the artwork slightly differently. These are all things that you learn as you go along, which just helps you make sure that you do it right the first time round.
Yeah, for sure.
What would you say, Sophie, about like the difference between, because I've seen some of your ones have been spiral bound and some of them have been, perfect bound and hardback. And so what would you say is the most popular format that you've done for your clients?
Well, everybody says, I want one like this with the leather and the prettiness. Like this, I want these are so super nice, and they've got these lovely colors, and I can do all the bits. Then you say, okay, as long as you've got the budget for that, we can go down that route. But if you're going down that sort of a route, you need to be looking at getting 250 to 500 at least done to make it anywhere cost effective.
Yeah.
So it is an investment then, and it's looking at what sort of an audience do you have. How many will they be buying? How will I be selling them to them? And then you look at what content am I going to be putting in this? Does it need to be green? Does it need to be something that is 12 weeks? Does it need to be a whole year? Can I fit my year within the thickness of the book that I want to achieve?
Yeah.
How much is it going to be to post? How am I going to fulfill it? Just how am I going to market it? Where am I going to sell it in the world? There's so many different potential things that you could do.
Yeah.
That's what you discussed at the very beginning of the process. You get really clear. You look at examples, right? If you want to keep it from a budget perspective, we want to be budget friendly. We're not going to be printing in big runs. We just want to print 25 or 50 at a time and just start getting it out there. Then down this route. If we want to invest and do something beautiful, and then we can go down that route.
Yeah, it was like a high-end mastermind that it goes with that year-long program that lady did. Then you've already got the money there because you put it in basically the marketing costs or the running costs of that course of that program. Yeah, and I think what you've mentioned there, one of the things is sorry.
That's right. Sorry, Ali mentioned spiral bind in the thing. There's lots of different ways you can bind stuff. There's tabs you can have put in, and tabs work better with some types of print and not with others. If you get something like this done, you have to have them, which I discovered, you have to have them perfect bound as a book. So it comes through like this with it all. Then they put the tabs in, and then they chop off this perfect binding that you've paid to have done. and then they add the coil. And what color coil do you go? What type of coil? How thick do you go? The metal coil I don't like because it bends. Coil, you've got an environmental consideration. You've got do we go vegan leather, normal leather? Do we go thin, bendy leather? Do we go hardback leather? There's a lovely plethora of choices out there, but it all just completely depends on what you want, what your clients want, and your budgets, really.
Yeah. And maybe we just go into that a little bit, Sophie, about just giving people some idea of costs for some, maybe if we do extremes. But I think something else to mention as well, cost is probably going to be a determining factor for most of the people listening. That's going to be their real compass, but also is about distribution. And you mentioned print on demand. And I think it's good for people to understand that if they don't want to be running to the post office every week or every day to post someone's planner, or they've got 250 sitting in their garage and they don't want to be the fulfillment house for that, then print on demand allows people to order one at a time, and they would normally ship to the person direct to their home. But as you rightly said, when you do POD, you've got so many limiting factors of what the bespokeness is around that. So can you just want to highlight as a point, but could you just give some people an understanding of cost?
Yeah, so if you go down the print on demand route, the quality of the print is less, which doesn't really matter so much with novels, books. But with notice it, because if the line doesn't print well and it's patchy, then that's why you need to be aware of that sort of stuff when you're setting the artwork up in the first place. Print on demand is great. It's actually much harder to do a planner on print on demand nowadays because Ingram Spark point blank now will no longer do them. So there's a limited number of people where you can actually publish your book on print on demand as a planner.
Okay.
And again, depending on what finish you want, whether you want hardback or whether you want softback. Again, the prices, print on demand. So with anything, there's pros and cons for everything. If you print yourself as a print run, whether you do a small run or you go big, it will cost you less than if you do it on print on demand. So you pay for the privilege of not having to have that investment up front, and they will print it and they will ship it as is needed. What you do need to consider on that one is, what if someone doesn't like it and they send it back? Because theoretically they can't. So then you get grumpy people messaging you saying, I can't send it back, this is outrageous. That's only happened once in 6 years to me out of thousands of books that have been I'm not saying that that's a big factor, but it is one to consider. So you've got the print on demand option there. Again, with that, you are restricted on what your options are when it comes to sizing and color options and paper options and stuff like that. Again, your paper's thinner, so you need to bear that in mind with the colors that you're using on paper and stuff like that. Then you've got fulfillment options where you use a fulfillment house where you would send them, so you'd get the printed, you send them to a fulfillment house and they ship them for you. So it can be completely hands-free and you can still kind of get the best of both worlds where you've cut the cost of the run low per book, but then it's still being hands-free done.
And there are fulfillment houses that specialize in books because books need to be kept at a certain temperature and all those types of things. So the moistness in the air and all that type of stuff will affect them, but there are special fulfillment houses that specialize.
Yes, so you've got all of that. Then you've got the dreaded Amazon. Love them or hate them, they can be a really effective place to ship your book out, but you do need to take that into consideration when you take the costs into account, because it is an expensive way to do it, but you can sell a lot of planners through doing that, and journals. So there's that option as well. And then obviously there's fulfilling yourself, where you can pack them, post them up. Of course, the joy of doing it yourself is you are completely but also it gives you the freedom to do more stuff. So if you want to wrap them up beautifully and lots of things in, you can in a fulfillment house, but they will charge you for every single thing that you add into that box.
But it is still one of those delicious things where, again, it comes back to the very first question, which of course is very dear to my heart, and Sophie, why you are one of my favorite people, which is, what's the end result? What are you actually doing this for? And the impact and impression that you want to create with the planner, the journal, whatever it actually is. And that whole thing about, is it something that people ad hoc purchase, or is it something that it has a specific use for something? And all of those considerations, the cost considerations, the print on demand, or do I actually kind of fulfill it myself so that I can do the finishing touches in some way? A lot of that comes down to where you factor in. I think as a coach thinking about this, where I factor in what is the thing that I'm going to use it for, and what in the business is going to pay for this, because this isn't one of those, I give you one of those and it's a direct exchange for money for a thing. It's so not that, is it? It's, as you said, it's like they take it to bed, they take it, sort of like they have it in their house. It's part of their lives, right?
Yeah. And it doesn't, you can make money from planners for sure. But don't go into it
thinking that.
If you've already got a big audience that are buying from you, and you know that you can straight off sell 500 or 1,000 of these things, then you're straight into the profit. So that's lovely and easy, lovely, sorted. If you are looking at, I've got a market of 100 people who might potentially, and then 20 of them might buy, this is not going to be a moneymaker for you now. It could be something later, but what it is a lovely asset. And it's also a way of you really deepening your relationship with your clients, because then you are literally in their pockets for 24 hours a day, in the back of their mind for the time of the period that you're using it. So the power of a journal is great, and that exceeds a lot of other stuff, I think. But equally, it doesn't have to be a lost, lost cause in terms of money stuff. It doesn't have to be a big pit of sucking the money out of your business.
Liability.
Yeah, no. At the very least, you should be able to cover your costs on these things, because even if you were doing a small run, you would still be able to cover that, because you can charge more. And there are people that will charge £50, £100 for a planner. If your planner or journal is really powerful in what it has inside it, to cause transformation for somebody, then there is a value there that you can charge, which massively exceeds what you can charge for anything else in terms of like a book or.
That's it.
Which is really what Brendan Bashard's done. I mean, his is about 40-50 quid, isn't it, for the
I think you can get
versions,
4 of these. Yeah, so there are 4 of these for around about 70 quid. So you get 1 per quarter, and you literally work your way through the 90 days that are in here. I do have an issue with this, but I'm not going to say it out loud. There is one thing missing in his planner. Should we
tag Brendan in it?
I know, I think we should. We should tag Brendan. I should tell him that there's one thing missing in his planner that really doesn't make it work. But what's interesting,
it doesn't work. And I think that's the joy of planners. They won't work for everybody, no matter what you do, no matter how much your audience loves you. There will be people in your audience that love it and people that don't like it. I have done extensive market feedback every year when I've done my planners. I didn't this year because we've literally done it for 5 years, and I ask them questions and I get lots and lots of responses back. What did you like? What did you want to change? And we've now got to the point where I don't really change anything. The inside is set. Those of us that have been buying it and using it every year,
you want to stay the same,
we want it the way we want it. We don't want it to be radically changed now. So that works. But the feedback is really useful for making sure you kind of tweak it. Most people don't get them dated because ultimately they have a shelf life. So an awful lot of people don't. One of the planners that I've got is lovely for Beverly Edmondson, who
God.
Stay safe, honey. Stay safe.
Yeah. She's got a millinery shop in Farnham in Surrey.
I love this so much.
And so she makes hats. For those of you thinking, what is a milliner? Hats. And she trains other people to make hats. So hobbyists who make hats for and fascinators and things for fun, and they then think, actually I could start doing this as a business. She trains them how to make a business out of a hobby, essentially. So we did the planners to go with that. So she sells them to her hobbyist milliners in an effort to try and get them to be a bit more business minded. So the structure of the planner is essentially a year, but it could be less, it could be more. And that's because most of the people that use hers will only be doing maybe 1 to 3 days a week as a working week. So they might only use the actual work plannery bit 1 or 3 days a week. So we've left it so that they can do that, and it's focusing on like appointments and tasks, and then they've got some spaces where they can draw, and they've got note sections, and they've got a budget planner, and they've got a pricing planner. So a pricing calculator. How long has it taken me to do it? What's the fabric cost? How much has it cost?
Beautiful.
Because a lot of hobbyists don't look at that. They look at how much the fabric has cost. They don't look at the stuff which they need to do if they're a business. And then we did a matching wall planner.
I was just going to say, I love this. This bit is just genius. So do highlight all the date things, please.
So this is what I do these. So I obviously sent you one of these. So she's got these lovely little hat illustrations that we used. This is her main planner, and on this side it's got the 12 months, and we've got the main key dates, and then on that side, so whichever side you like really you can use. But we included, as well as the bank holidays, the key dates for milliners, so for them specifically, so things like Ascot and
awesome.
Stuff like that, things that are going to affect their business. So it's very, very niche. You could probably use this if you were not a milliner, but the likelihood of you buying it is very slim.
Well, you see, you say that, and I've suddenly gone, there is a person I haven't actually bought a Christmas present for who this would be perfect for, and I don't think she'll be watching. So Julie Judenti might actually be getting one of these.
Yeah, God, she'd
She
love it.
makes her own hat for Ascot every single
Every
year, and
year.
she could go into this as a business entirely. So you've probably just made a sale there.
So just on that,
Yeah.
looking at going back to that, I was really drawn to the teal leather bound one. With
Really, Kelly?
Yeah,
really?
I know. It's our colour,
No.
I know. So just as an example of that, because I know we were saying this is one where you're going to need like 250 minimum print run. This is one where you're probably going to include it in a high-end product. What would be an average cost for that, Sophie, to produce that?
There's a lot of factors, obviously, into how you finish it. But you wouldn't be far off budgeting if you said like £9 to £12 a planner.
Okay.
If you were looking at this sort of a size and in black and white, but then it will there's quite a few factors that affect that, but you wouldn't be far off if you're budgeting that. Okay. If you wanted to go slightly bigger and you wanted to add like a second color or anything like that, you can be like some of the ones we do, and they're supplied wrapped in tissue paper with a sticker, and they've got a flyer inside them. They are, you're near a sort of £20 a planner, especially if you're going lower print run. But if the more you print, the lower they come, and they will drop dramatically, like £4 or £5 a planner, boom, gone, because you've ordered 250 or 500.
And this is one of the things that, why we do, the business tracker that's just come out to our membership. We encourage people to plan at this time of the year, to literally use the wall planner to put the big rocks in. So if you know that you are planning, although it's tentative in 2021, 3 retreats of 20 people each, that's 60 right there that actively starts you working with the numbers that you're actually working with. So that forward thinking that we encourage everybody to do and do the planning when you're running the business, that forward thinking helps you then actually go, right, how do I offset the costs, and where else could I use this thing? Can I use it just for the retreat, or might I use it for a couple of the other packages? If this is our user journey, might I also use it not only for the very high end retreats, for example, but might they also be relevant for some of the one-to-one stuff I do, which then, as you say, will have an impact on the print run and how much you actively end up doing.
Sometimes, you look at it and you think, yes, it's going to cost me £5, £6, £7 less to do this 500 print run, but I only need 250. So I'm going to swallow that cost difference, but I'm going to make up for it in other ways. So how could I cover that cost in some way?
And you think about it, you think, okay, how many corporate gifts do you buy at Christmas time? If you're at expos and you might have stands and you actually have them bespokely there to people to actually buy at a discounted rate. When we've got, as Helena said, the clients, if you work with joint ventures, sponsorship partners, are there things that so you're swallowing the costs and things that would actually either be coming out of a marketing budget or an entertainment budget in some way or another. But it helps you make the print run worth your while, because you're actually, you need 250, but you get the 500 and we can get rid of the rest in the year, especially when you don't date them. Because if they are evergreen and, you've done the work on them, very much so, we do this with our journals, we will then swallow the cost in a larger print run because we know that they're not going to change then. So it is thinking really strategically about, where does the plan or journal work for you in your business? Who's the end client? And then how can you sweat that asset so that you can actually make it work for you in so many different ways? I'm completely aware that we're
I'm about to cut you off, Kelly, and that's us sort of together. But Sophie, I am sure that people have just fallen in love with you. There were people who were in love with you before we even kind of got you on here. You were getting a lot of love when we announced that it was you that was coming on here. So
hardly people anything.
well, and this is the point. So how do people connect with you so that you can cover more?
I was going to talk to you about corporate, getting them involved, because then you can charge out more and include it in your package. I've got a client doing that at the moment. Nice. If you could get the client to buy 250 because you're doing it, she's doing team training, then we can brand it for your clients. So not only is it yours, it's also theirs, and then they're paying for it. Win-win. Best things. So just hit me up. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. Use sophiejewry.com, which is in the comments. Just have a chat, because it's a great thing. It can be a really cool thing. Yes, you do need to invest to get it done. Yes, you can get it on the same as anything. You can get a logo done on the cheap and it'll probably tide you over, but you can also get a nice one done too, so whichever is your preference. But it's always good to chat to people about these things. There's some really nice ideas out there, but my main takeaway would be go niche, go big, and do it nicely if you're going to go for it at all.
I think that's perfect. Go niche, go big, do it nicely. I think that's pretty much kind of what's to be said.
And I think the added bit that we want to highlight with you, Sophie, is why we brought you on, is because of the expertise and the amount of different variety of planners and journals that you've done, is that consultation at the beginning, you will help people think about stuff that they've never thought about before. So yes, you can go cheap, but you're going to have a very transactional relationship with that provider.
Rather than they come in and they're like, I want to do this, and I go, really? Okay. Let's look at the reality of what that would be, and let's explore this, and how about this? And by the I think never out of all the ones I've done have at the end of it we had a planner that was what they initially thought it was going to be. It's normally quite different, but it makes so much more sense, and it really works for them. So it's
all of the book coaches in the world are agreeing with you on that, because it's the same process with the book, and it's the same process with an online course. It's always you work with experts, it always turns into something much more than you thought it would be. And I put the link to your
what am I doing? Who am I doing it for? Why am I doing it? It's so much more than just, what are we going to put on the page? Let's swap a box on there and stick a heading in.
Yeah.
And I've put a link to your productivity tribe, Hum. Do you want to just tell our viewers about that?
Thank you. Yeah, so alongside the planners, obviously, I started helping people because I was retailing planners. So you suddenly end up with quite a few thousand people who are buying your planners. And, let's not leave them out in the cold. You set up a way of helping them with their planners, and then you start getting into productivity and time management and how do you plan and all that. So I created the Productivity Tribe, which is a little monthly membership thing. It's £15. It's a little thing. It's the fantastic resource for people who are wanting a little bit extra accountability in their lives or businesses. We do daily accountability. We do one blast week a month, or we do hourly accountability in the Facebook group. We do a monthly call where we do a structured reviewing and planning for the month behind and the month ahead. So it's a nice space for people who want a little bit more accountability.
And you've got a prime audience there, because they're all buying planners, so you know that that's what they want and what they need. Whether they use them, they use your group to do that, right? So we know that Ali wants to chat with you. Ali's saying she's been thinking about this for ages, so she's going to connect with you. So all of Sophie's social media links are on her own website, where they put the link in there, and also she's in the Connection Hub, so you can tag her in there. And also there's the Ultimate Planners and the 2021 Planner. I put all the links to everything up for people to go and explore.
Marvelous. If anybody's got any comments, just chuck it in the comments. I'll happily answer in the group as well.
Yeah, just tag Sophie, myself, and or Kelly, and it's all good. We will leave you to it until Monday, the 21st of December, the awards. So do not put us in your diary for Tuesday at 1:00. I know some of you are doing the hashtag replay anyway. Do make sure you've put that in there. But seriously, for those of you who are here who want to join us live for the awards, because there's nothing like actually hearing whether you got chosen. That's Monday at 1:00 GMT. We'll speak to you then. Thanks, Sophie.
Have a great week.
Bye.